The case against 4 crime intelligence top officials, including the agency's boss Dumisani Khumalo, has been postponed to the 8th of September. The accused appeared before the Pretoria Regional Court earlier today in a bid to have one of their bail conditions relaxed and allow them to return to work. The group faces charges of corruption and fraud related to irregular senior SAPS appointments. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba attended the proceedings and joins us now live for more. Ziniko, very good afternoon to you. So the amendment of the bail conditions is directly related to the work that these SAPS members have to do. Just talk to us in terms of what changes within Khumalo's now recent responsibilities, and really what is it that they want amended within the bail conditions that will hinder them in doing their work?
So you remember when these officials were arrested and appeared in court late in June 2025, the SAPS had to then, put them on ice, for lack of a better word, in terms of their daily duties. So, and of course, following what the court had said when it granted them the bail, the court had said that these officials must not be anywhere near the premises of crime intelligence operations. Secondly, they must not interact with any of the crime intelligence employees during this period of this particular case. So those were the clear terms saying that they cannot be anywhere near, the crime intelligence operations. So that was one of the bail conditions which these individuals are currently, arguing or challenging. So specifically, what they argued before the magistrate was the fact that clearly we are still employed officially by the South African Police Service. Therefore, we have duties to do. We've got critical duties, very sensitive matters to deal with, specifically with Khumalo stating that he is responsible for overseeing the work of the intelligence operations in this country. He has to deal and guide and provide an oversight of those operations. Therefore, under the current bail conditions, he's unable to do that because it's like I'm operating blindfolded. So I do need, firstly, to execute my duties, but also to be fair to my employer because I'm still under their employ. So one of the things they specifically challenged was condition 3 of the bail condition, which really deals with the issue of them having to access the premises. And the state then has been saying that, no, you cannot go back to work because we've got weaknesses that are part and parcel of the employees or of the crime intelligence system. Therefore, we cannot risk giving you guys access to them, firstly for their safety, but we're also fearing that you might tamper with the evidence that is still within the crime intelligence system. So let's take a listen to one of the lawyers, especially the advocate who was representing accused number 1, Mr. Khumalo, as he explains why they went in court and asking the court to ease these bail conditions.
The purpose of this application is to amend the conditions that were set in my bail hearing in terms of Section 63 of the Criminal Procedure Act, and specifically condition number 3 as portrayed by the written bail conditions, which are attached here to marked Annexure A. This is what I referred the court to as the written conditions that the court handed down. As it stands, the condition reads as follows. Accused number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are prohibited from being at any premises of crime intelligence within the country, RSA, while the matter is pending. Paragraph 6. The relief sought here and seeks to amend this condition in order to allow me to be able to perform my duties in terms of my employment with the SAPS and execute my duties fully in terms of such employment. Paragraph 7. Any alternative to the relief set out in the notice of motion to which this affidavit is attached, amendment to the condition is sought to allow me to attend the offices of crime intelligence where the witnesses are not present. I've considered the witnesses and am of the opinion that the witnesses contained in the docket do not occupy all the crime intelligence offices in the country, and submit that the amendment can simply have the effect that I am allowed to attend the offices that are not occupied by the witnesses.
So, accused number 7, who's alleged to have been employed illegally, is saying that now her employer has been prejudiced. She wants to go back and really fulfill her duties. What are the chances of them succeeding in this hearing?
So that's the lady actually who is at the center of this particular case, because all the accused are charged for, employing her without following the right procedures, without proper vetting or compromising the vetting process. Because had they vetted her accordingly, they would have picked up that she does not have the relevant qualifications, she does not have the experience, and to be appointed at the level of a brigadier, that takes a lot of qualifications and experience within the South African Police Service, specifically within the Crime Intelligence Unit. So that's the lady who's accused, number 7, who was also arguing in court that she's been transferred temporarily to a position she has no capacity or experience in. Therefore, she wants to be taken back to that position, which is of brigadier, which is under the spotlight right now. But to answer your second question in terms of what are the chances, well, it can go either way. The reason why I'm saying that, they presented a very strong argument. They said that, firstly, when we are granted bail, the state said it does not oppose us being released on bail because, firstly, the state argued that they had completed their investigation. So whether we go back to work or not, it's not going to have any effect because the state said it has concluded its investigation. The second argument they made was the fact that, well, the state during those bail argument hearings said that they are not worried about us being released on bail because the potential witnesses are police officers themselves. So those are the individuals who are capable of protecting themselves, but also who know where to go should they find themselves or should they decide or feel like they're being put in a vulnerable positions. So those are the arguments that they used, and referencing the very same arguments which were ventilated by the state during the bail hearing arguments. So those are the two strong cases which I believe the judge might consider. But what happened today was also the fact that during the summary of the arguments by the lawyer who was representing Mr. Khumalo, he said that, well, besides those two arguments I just spoke about, there are latest developments within the South African Police Service in terms of its internal investigations on our case. And one of those things was the fact that, Mr. Khumalo's transfer has been lifted by the police commissioner. Remember, when they were arrested, there were some limitations. They were moved from their direct and day-to-day opportunities. They were transferred to some positions. So Mr. Khumalo's lawyer said that there are changes. There's an update as far as that. And there was a letter that proved their latest developments. However, we could not see what the document contained. Okay. But our sources did confirm that, according to that document, it seems as if the internal processes of the South African Police Service, do not really believe that there's a strong case against these individuals. They are also saying that, and this is unofficial because I was told off camera, and unofficially, that internal process believes that there's no strong case against these individuals. However, the last line in that document does say that these accused individuals who are currently in court must abide by the conditions of the bail which were set by the court. So that talks to two things. The SAPS might not find any wrongs as far as these officials are concerned, but they are saying that we're going to respect the processes of the court. Should the court find them guilty, we are going to respect that. But this matter of them going to court to ask for these bail conditions to be eased, it doesn't seem as if the SAPS is in support of that, because they are saying that these accused must abide by the current bail conditions. So those are the things that really make me believe that it can go either way. Sure. It can go in their favor or against their favor. But we'll have to hear then what happens on the 8th of September 2025 when they return to the court for the continuation of this particular bail hearing.
But with that said, Ziniko, I mean, if you look at the time at which they were arrested and subsequent to the allegations that were made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi in KZN, how closely should we be looking at this with regards to how everything else is going to unravel within SAPS with those allegations that have been made?
So it's going to be a very interesting scenario, actually, because we've got two processes. But these processes are not identical or similar, because this current court case is looking at 7 individuals who have been criminally charged by IDEC, which is responsible for investigating serious crimes. So this particular court case is specifically focusing on those individuals. The question then becomes, should they be found guilty? How is that outcome going to be used during the proceedings of the Commission of Inquiry, which is going to be led by Justice Mhlaba. And depending on whatever process concludes first, it will be interesting then to see how the other process uses the conclusions or the final arguments or decisions of the other to make its own determinations. But I'm definitely sure that when it comes to the evidence, because the current criminal case is going to deal with the evidence, they will be going to trial and every evidence will be tested. So we'll see then how these two processes go hand in glove, or whether then they might come to different conclusions. And it will be interesting then to see, to find out what will be used as the final conclusion on this whole matter that's involving the criminal activities within the South African Police Service entirely.
Right. That's going to be quite interesting. So the 8th of September is when that hearing comes back. Thank you so much for giving us that update. That's Ziniko Mhlaba.